What's happening, everybody? It's me again, Clipadelic, Mike Clip Payne, and my grandson over there,
Episode 6.
Justin. Yeah. So what are we talking about today? This is episode 6. Check it out. Speaking of the episode number, I realized that when we got to episode 3, we called it 2. So for
We
anybody
did.
who's listening to 3, we call it 2. It's just that we just like the number 2.
Hey, Wefunk Nation. Thanks for listening. Before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know that 78% of the people that listen to the Wefunk International podcast on YouTube are not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss another video. All right, let's get to this podcast.
Yeah. So what's on your mind these days?
Who was like your role model in music?
Who did I look up to? I had some family that used to come over, and there was Donald Jones, Venus Jones, and they would come over to the house, and my uncle Venus Jones would come over there with a pump organ, and they play jazz all day in the living room. And then another influence for me early on was like I had a aunt who would come in from uh, Alabama. She lived down in Alabama. My aunt Saloni, and we always had a piano in the house, but nobody really knew how to play. But she would just walk in there, kind of old church lady, and she would just come in there and she just tear that piano up. And by the time she leave, I've learned kind of like the basis of boogie woogie, how to play bo 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 and stuff like that, because that was like where she was kind of coming from with the gospel. It still felt like the boogie woogie. And another person that I really dug was actually the father of a friend of mine that I'm sure my mother had a kind of secret crush on, because this dude could play the guitar. He played the guitar really nicely. His name was Emmanuel, and he's the father of Val Young. I don't know if you know Val Young. We're going to look Val Young up. You'll learn a little about Val Young. She worked with Gap Band, the Barkays, Rick James. She was she was the original Mary J. Blige. She had like all the style of Mary J. Blige, but she was on Motown, and she had a song called Seduction. But her dad, when I was a kid, first of all, he lived across the street from two venues that I dug. There was a place called the Olympia. Olympia is where I saw the Jacksons, the Jackson 5 for the first time. I would think I was 11 or 12. And then across the street from it was a place called the Soul Expression. And the Soul Expression had like a younger group that was there called the if you got to make it in there, because it was a tight little spot. One place had about, I don't know, 7,500 seats, and the other place could probably fit about 75 people. But the Soul Expression used to have like this group called Mad Dog and the Pups. And Mad Dog and the Pups was like just maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, but they were like a band, and they played funky, and they wore funky hats. And they played at a place called Edgewater Park around Detroit, and they had a song called Hip Squeeze. And for us kids, like, that was really cool. Like, Hip Squeeze, man. We're gonna look up Hip Squeeze and see if we could play it on here, or find some kind of way to URL them. But Detroit overall will make you into a musician. You almost can't avoid it. like I'm not a musician, but there's no way of getting around the idea of making records to me when there was so many people. But when I was a kid, uh, everybody in Detroit was looking like they were auditioning for Motown. Even if they worked at the factory, they sang at the factory. You know, guys that would be like factory workers would like get together and put together their act. So they, those people were still writing songs. So everybody around Detroit, Oakland felt that way for me a little bit when there was this real moment of the whole Oakland stroke, and the hip hop was doing it, but then you started to see all the older people that make the music, the older guitar players that like you probably knew from a church. You just know that if you got them on the end of this 2-pack record, it's gonna be it's really gonna be it. So we had that mix in Detroit of all kinds of musicians. Everybody was thinking all kinds of ways, but when it came to making a record, you could go across town and the guy that's in a band that's nowhere near a band that you like does have like the sound, and though you might have to catch him when he got out of the factory working, but he had a guitar. And the other thing about Detroit was kind of like we all had basements. Every house had a basement. So every house had either three things: a pool table, a ping pong table, or some musical equipment. I remember the first time I ever was in a singing group as a kid. These other kids wanted to have a singing group like the Temptations. So they walked up to me and they said, "You want to be in my singing group?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, you got to audition first." I said, "Okay." They said, "Say Eddie Kendricks, Eddie Kendricks." I was like, "Eddie Kendricks, Eddie Kendricks." He's like, "You in our band." And that was it. That was it. And I didn't even sing a note. I just talked, and it was high enough. I probably was like 10 or 11, and
Mm.
like, "You in our group." And I was like, "Wow, that was easy."
I remember you told me the Temptations lived in your neighborhood. Did you ever meet them?
I saw the Temptations when I was 7. I saw the Temptations when I was 8. I saw the Temptations when I was 9, 10, 11. Like every year, I saw the Temptations. But this one year, I was maybe in the 5th grade, and my class had a thing called Operation Go, and it was making everybody like try to have the best grade point average, or the best grades, and those who
Hmm.
had the best grades would make it in and get a trip to New York City. And I just barely made it, but I was one of the kids that went to New York. So we went to New York, and we went to Broadway. We saw Fiddler on the Roof. This was 1967 or 1968, and we went there, and we got the tour of New York, uh, the Broadway thing. We went down to what they call the Bowery Street.
When you toured New York, did you think like this is somewhere I'd want to live, or did that come later?
No, that came later. Uh, the first thing was Detroit was so residential and neighborhoodish, and everybody was had their block, and you knew it. To me, a block, even though we think of it as this one block, one thing around the corner, for me, it was just a block of blocks where people that I went to school with, you go on their street, uh, you're really doing something. So no, it didn't, because we're as kids we were riding around New York, and the difference between from where we live and what New York looked like, all that some 10-year-old kids could do looking out the window of a tour school bus
Mm-hmm.
around New York City, we went, and we were from Detroit at the time. All
Mm-hmm.
we could say was, ugh, and everything about New York,
Really?
yuck, yeah. But we went on this trip to New York, and we saw everything: the Statue of Liberty, the blah blah blah. And then at the end, it was time for us to leave, you know. And it was the morning that we had to leave, and we were supposed to have our little bags together. We're fifth graders. Have our bags together. It's four, two of us, two cots, two beds. I think we woke up late because from the good time we had the night before, and it was like the last night. But we woke up. I think we woke up because the door. Somebody knocked on the door. That's what happened. Somebody knocked on the door, and we got up. The door opened, and it was two guys there at the door, and they say, "You kids don't have to get out, but we just want to put our bags in here." Like, we checked in. You guys take your time getting out. And I looked up, and it was Otis Williams and Paul Williams from the Temptations. And I remember you was with me at the festival at
The Fools in Love Festival,
Fools in
yes.
Love Festival, and I saw Otis Williams, and I was like standing there with gray hair, telling this guy about how I was a kid, and he came to my hotel room to put his bags in his hotel room, and that I just remember us. We stuck like what, and then we went like,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, the Temptations. And then we started jumping around the bed. Everybody started jumping around. It was the greatest day. It was one of the greatest days of my life, man.
So when you saw him at the Fools in Love Festival, was that the first time you kind of like actually interacted with him since that? Since
Yeah,
or since?
yeah, yeah. Since being a kid, like, those cats was
That's
like my
crazy. That's crazy for
superstars.
me to be there and like witness that too because
Witness your grandfather like fanboying out over the. I'm fanboying
but
out,
that
dude. That was
the
like,
funny thing is we went and watched their set. Me and my mom,
yeah, yeah,
we went and watched their set right before we came to see your set.
right.
So when we were leaving to go to their set, we're leaving with the Temptations. And I'm like, I'm walking side by side with like Otis Williams. And so I start taking pictures, and my mom was like, "No, that's weird. You can't do that." And I'm like, "I don't care. This is the Temptations right in front of me."
Right,
I wasn't that close. They probably didn't even notice me. They were in
right,
their little light blue suits walking to the
right.
stage. And so, yeah,
Now I
it was
remember
pretty
you
funny.
standing there looking at me though. You were like looking at me like, I don't know who this guy really is, but my
I didn't
grandpa's
know
kind
who it
of.
is was at first
Oh
until
man,
you shook hands with him.
yeah, it was greatness for me to have like that. That was a great moment for me, like, because I'm pretty arrogant when it comes to, like, rock stars. I'd be like, yeah, yeah, I get it. It's your day, but you know, and and I try to be as nice as possible. I kind of already know that there's one or one of three, I guess, and I'm not gonna name them, but there's one of three fates with that kind of success that everybody's having, and it's like sometimes I be, it's like they're success, they're successful, and the first thing I start going is, oh shoot, how are they gonna finish these guys off? Because you already see it's kind of tacky. Like, the industry is kind of tacky that way. So I always like viewed that way, even as a kid.
When we went to see the Temptations, were you still at the dressing room?
Uh, I had just watched Shaka Khan's show. I think
Yeah,
didn't
yeah. No, it was Charlie Wilson. It was Charlie
Charlie Wilson
Wilson.
show. Yeah,
Because
I
I
just
went
watched.
back.
Yeah,
I
you
went
went
back
back to
with
see
you.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, but when I left to go watch him, you stayed, huh?
yeah. that roster was something else, man. You know,
It was crazy. It
yeah.
was crazy. I still have my little artist wristband.
Did you realize like what was the demographic of the audience that was there though?
What say it one more time?
What was the demographics of the audience that you could see? What was the dominant?
I think it was a lot of like black and Mexican people. They had Zap. Oh, that was cool for me. The Zap moment at the end, that
Yeah,
was really cool. When we walked back with Lester. Is it
right,
Lester?
right. Lester Troutman.
Lester Troutman. We walked back. Well, first off, I'm skipping the whole thing. I was sitting there jamming to your music with Flavor Flav.
Right. That was funny.
That was
I
crazy.
watched that. I
I
remember
have a
like
couple videos.
performing, and I looked over at you like, I wonder if he knows Flavor Flav, because even he's a generation or two back from you.
So I usually watch from the side, right? But
Right.
George's security, his roadman,
Yeah.
um, he was like, just come behind Benzel. Like, you can stand back there."
Right.
So I went back there because I was still trying to record, but I was trying to record from the side because I don't really want to be on stage like that.
Right.
Um, but his roadman was like, come behind Benzel and just stand back there, get your videos from back there. So when I went back there, Flavor Flav just followed, and so it was just me and Flavor Flav just jamming the P Funk, and he loves your music. But and then at the end of the show, Lester Troutman walked back to what was it, the parking lot with us?
Yeah.
Walked back to the parking lot with us. And it was pretty cool. He was like, "I'll never forget you. Your grandpa's an awesome dude."
Yeah.
So he was like, "I'll never forget your name."
I've been knowing
Pretty
them since they since the days when they were not called Zap. They used to drive up from Ohio, and they were driving to Detroit and park behind the studio, and they wait for George to come out to acknowledge them and listen to parts of the tape of whatever show they did the night before, and they tried
uh-huh.
to explain to George like what it looked like visually. This is before you had video, so now you got like the big brothers like he's like, and this is the part like we're just listening to a tape, and he's going like, and this is the part where my brother like it's like puts it behind his back. So it used to be funny. So I've been knowing them. I even was a part of the discussion as to why they would even be called Zap, which was that their youngest brother who played bass was named Zap, and the song that they had needed a band name, and it was the Funk Mob that decided that why don't you guys use Zap because he's your little brother, and he won't be the one to do you guys in. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be able to trust him. They named it Zap, and that was just to get more bounce out, which was produced by George, but nobody ever talks about. What's happening, everybody? This is Clip Payne. I want to thank you for listening. You've been great. If you want to follow us any further, you can find us at patreon.com/Clip Payne and the 420 Funk Mob. Okay, hi.
Friday, I'm gonna go see the Michael biography.
Which Michael?
Michael Jackson just came out.
Oh yeah. How much more can be said about Michael? Who's doing this one?
Jafar
Okay.
Jackson. Apparently, it's currently rated higher than Elvis's biography, which was the highest ranking biography.
Well, Michael's always gonna outdo you no matter what. Michael Jackson's kind of like Michael Jackson. You want to know how old Michael Jackson would be right now?
What, like 60, 70 something?
67.
Are you
He
guys
would
the
be.
same age?
Yeah, bro.
You guys are the same age. That's funny.
Yeah, man. He would be turning 68 this year. Yeah, I as somebody who went to see Michael Jackson as a kid, and he was doper than anybody that I had seen prior. He was like a kid version of all the greatest. There was this era when we loved Hammer on the streets, right? Everybody on the streets in Detroit and Oakland, everybody knew what Hammer was doing. It was our ghetto jewel. Then it was Hammer time. Once it's Hammer time, in comes a whole new audience with all of that, you know,
Mm,
inquiring minds want to know bullshit. And it's the same way with Michael. Once it was the last great thing was Off the Wall. And once it became
mm.
Thriller, it was like no longer. It was almost like the way that they had marketed Michael. Like he's a nice guy. He goes to church. He's not thinking about dating right now. He's all this kind of stuff. They do that kind of stuff to build you so that you pop, that you go well with balloons. But then when they want to like kill your game, they use those same promotional tools to go, see, it doesn't even have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's like, here we go. I was at a place, Justin, one time. It was the Grammys. I think I fell in the Grammys looking like this, it's for real. And we were playing, and but Michael Jackson came in the back. I have never seen so many white fanboys losing their mind like little girls when Michael walked into place. And Michael was definitely the man. He was walking on a cane, and he was doing stuff like, he pointed at somebody. It was almost like they had been anointed, like they had just met Jesus. And it was crazy to me. And I was like, okay, this dude really is the man. Like, but the reality is he probably owned the company that they worked at. So they all
Yeah.
had to kiss his ass, you know? But the first chance they got to not have to kiss his ass, oh, they went MAGA on his ass.
Apparently, my mom was held by him at one point. So
They didn't tell the story right. You want to know the story? We Your grandma and I used to live in LA, and
I didn't know that.
yeah, we were going between Rempal, and then we had a little place. Um, I had a buddy that I knew from Detroit, and he was there, and he and his wife, they were Jehovah's Witness. They had become Jehovah's Witness, and we all shared like this house, right?
Mm.
And your grandma went down there with your mother as a baby. We had an office down that way. People had an office down that way. And there's a bus stop down by the door, down by the front door. Your mother and my boy's wife at that time, and this is like 80, 82, 80, 82, 83 tops.
So she was like 1 to 2.
Yeah. They went walking over there and they were talking. The girl, they they were getting a reading of the Bible from a guy at the bus stop. And and the guy said, your baby, and they realized once they walked away, it was Michael Jackson. They had just done like, uh, you know, when the witness go out and go and read the Bible, and I don't know what the word is for it, but when they go out and they reach out to people, and yeah, that's what happened. Now I met Michael Jackson. I met Michael Jackson when I was 21. And I met all the Jacksons in the back of the Santa Monica Civic, and we were rehearsing for the Glory How's Stupid tour, and they had us come out to meet the Jacksons, and the Jacksons was totally like in formation, and I just remember Lodge and myself standing next to each other. We was kind of new in the game, and the Jacksons was like our age, and we've been watching them. It's like if you've been listening to NBA YoungBoy since you was 8,
Mhm.
it was kind of like that. And so here
Right.
we are. We're like 20, 20, 21, 22, and we meet the Jacksons. Well, we've been meeting them since we was 10 and 11. This is when we had the egg. We had a gigantic egg. And if you know the album Glory Hollow Stupid, you'll kind of
Mhm.
get the story. Lodge and I like started to become a focal point. The P-Funk horns started to become a focal point. And the only band member from the old set that was in the visuals was Bernie, because that year when we went out, George didn't go out as Parliament Funkadelic. We went out as Parliament Funkadelic without George.
We need to find the video of you coming out the egg.
Everybody's been searching for it. I used to have one picture of it. I used to cherish that one picture because it was dope. And I don't know, I think I lost it in a fire or something. They were trying to market Parliament, but George wasn't coming out as Dr. Funkenstein. Instead, the feature was Gary, and I was kind of like this other kind of like Noid that was coming through the thing, running through the thing, the story line. So I used to have like this blonde hair thing going on, and
Yep, with the afro, the
yeah,
blonde hair patch with the afro.
yeah, and I took over the diaper duty. I wore a diaper that year, and I was hatched out of an egg, and I had a, a baby bottle, pacifier, a T-shirt that said no. It just wrote no, and I would come out this thing, and eggs would splatter out of the egg that I was coming out of, which was at the size of the mothership. It was a big egg. It was like 20 feet tall. Before my egg, historically, this guy uh, Chick Webb. If you look through like uh, Apollo Theater and Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, that was the thing he did. He came out of an egg, so you know I
A
had
lot
an
of
egg.
history.
Lady Gaga had an egg. Chick Webb had an egg.
Uh oh. It goes Clipadelic, Lady Gaga, Chick Webb, huh?
There you go.
That's the list.
Freaks of the industry, baby.
I do have a segment I want to start actually.
Let's start it right here.
We have one Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
Indigo on Instagram says, "What's the hardest, most rewarding thing you've accomplished through P-Funk shows?"
Uh, I've had a, I've had the, I've raised kids on the road. I've been out there long enough to raise kids on the road. So to actually do the road, come out unscathed, and have some kind of like sensible thinking kids who did the whole thing with me. I kind of like, I feel super rewarded, and like I feel like most people wouldn't get away with it, or get it right. And I even though I did it wrong, I got it right. So that one, my kids are my accomplishment out of it. Uh, yeah, I was actually able to be some human's family, you know, because I'm a I'm fifth I'm the fifth kid of a bunch of kids, but I'm an only child. So I've actually, like, my kids are probably my best friends because they kind of grew up in the same way that only child they were like only children, each one of them. Even my twins, like, they are, even though we have to like think in multiples. My youngest ones, I'm out of being in this industry and being able to like have conversation with you. Like, I got another generation right here that I get to have. Like, I could still be this crazy, like, whatever it is I'm doing uh, in the industry and whatever that's supposed to be called, but I'm able to like still have my, I was gonna say, gene pool. I was just looking at a bunch of pictures of you and myself with like us just sitting like maybe in a restaurant and like you're so little, and I'm like, yep, I in this new day and age of even how we dealing right now from coast to coast, you know, we've had this kind of connection, and to be able to maintain that is kind of rewarding. Like, that's one of the hardest things. It's like, and was it? How about it? It wasn't hard that it set me back to any kind of point to where I feel bad about it. It's that it's a difficult thing to do, and most people can't do it, and that I've actually been able to navigate and have all the other in my life like that. That's my greatest reward. Now I want some money. How about that?
I have a question because I get to ask a sneak peek as a second host. I get to talk to you face to face a little bit more than the press. 420 Funk Mob, June 26th. It's a super meltdown trip fest. What can you tell us now?
Super Meltdown Trip Fest. The plan is, first of all, Trip Fest. Okay? I usually find it how you want it. Meltdown. Usually find that how you want it. And for you folks who are in the more dramatic kind of places, super. It's gonna be super. It's gonna be super meltdown trip fest 420.
I know we had some really good reviews of the 420 Funk Mob performance at the P Funk Fest. How did you like that P Funk Fest? The first P Funk Fest. How was that for you?
The first P Funk Fest I thought was well, I thought that was a dangerous, like, you guys must be crazy, but I could see it. I just thought that uh it came and went so fast, but it was a great uh funk family convention.
How many bands did you perform in? Did you just do 420 and P Funk
I
or
did 420. I kind of like, first of all, I came with more of a crew that was like willing to help out on the technical thing, on the lighting and things like that. So everybody that came found the space that they needed to be in order to make this like a great day. For me, I was so shaking hands so much that I found myself under a shade tree for the whole day because I was there from like 8:30, 9 o'clock till
Hmm.
I had to do my thing at showtime 6 or 7 in the evening. So all that time, like I'm watching everybody else's band,
Hmm.
uh, but I'm watching it from a shade tree, and uh, and I wasn't uh, I wasn't actually physically that well when I was there. So I was trying to make sure that I had the energy.
Whose set did you enjoy?
I really enjoyed Benny's. Benny had Benny has a way that he bops, and
Hmm.
so his band bops the way he bops. Uh, I thought that was really good. Uh, it felt like Baltimore met New Orleans some kind of way in the middle of Florida. It was great. And then I like Benzel Baltimore's set. That one was good. And Kendra Foster brought it. She really brought it. Like but she brought it which the staging was great. I mean they really pulled it off. I thought it was gonna be picnic style and we was gonna be on some kind of piece of cardboard doing the thing. They actually went for it. We had a sound system that was booming. Uh uh Backdrop that was booming. The light show was booming. Incredible. I can't wait till next year, you know, because they've got something there. And yay to all the people that showed up because here was um, the crazy part about this one was not very many people from Tallahassee attended.
It was from all over.
People from all over came, and you had a good like private party of about 1,500, maybe 2,000 people that made it work. So
That's pretty good, especially considering like I heard a lot of people say Tallahassee's not really a funk place.
right, right. Shout out to Jeffrey Mitchell. Uh, he and all the folks that kind of follow us, they use the term P Funk conventions, and even George uses it on the George Clinton tour tour website. That most of our shows are conventions of people, and more so than we're having a concert, it's more of a convention where even like when you think about it, the jam thing did the same thing. It's like everybody that showed up, kind of like you knew these people. They show up all the time, everywhere, anyway. So this was a beautiful thing, and I think we should do more of them. I can't wait to do my convention here in Woodstock. Uh, I wish this
Uh oh.
trip fest was prepared, but that way. But I'm going to find a nice piece of you know grass that you guys and trees that you guys can hang on, and we can find out which part of the town we can boom and play that loud. You know what I'm saying?
You just got the plans from the man himself. Sneak peek.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Clippadelic.
what 13 and I are going to do the Roots.
Hmm.
Garrett, we did it. I've done like the last 2 years, and it's with Otil Burbage and uh, a bunch of great musicians that are over there. That it's more on the Allman Brothers type thing, which is a beautiful thing. And those kids seem to be like uh, they like to jam, and the way they jam is the way I was used to P Funk jamming, and so I can get that at that festival. But I'm gonna use the same venue to do a P Funk festival because it's like cabins and tents and
Are
camping.
you excited for Roots? Are you camping this year again?
Oh yeah, yeah. We bring our own. We bring our own. We just I've been going there for years and years. So, we know our spots. We like to hang in.
Alrighty, that's episode 6 for you. Check out wefunk.com. We're sneaky little updates coming to the wefunk.com. You guys be ready for those. Join the emailing list so you guys get the update when it goes live. Check out the merch we have. We got 420 Funk Mob merch. We got Emperor Has No Clones CDs.
Shirts, we got hats, we got caps, we got scarves. What you want? We got it all.
Speaking of hats, I like your Third Delic hat.
Yo, man, I'm gonna wear my third delic
I might
till it
have to
fall
get me
apart.
one.
I'm gonna tell you, 13 lit it up at the festival. 13
Really.
brought it for real. Like he's had a little practice, and yeah, he's kicking some butt out there. Brandy brought dancers, you know. Uh Lodge Delic set was off the chain. Danny seemed to
Lodge
play in
Delic.
every band. Yeah.
By this point, we have already uploaded Lodge's episode, so I'm excited. First guest in the We Funk International. Really appreciate Lodge for coming out
Yeah,
recording that.
so if you catch us right now and this is your first, just go and search our episodes. We have a playlist and you'll find Lodge's interview there.
Alrighty, episode 6.
All right, there we Funk Nation.
We Funk Nation, We Funk International. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We got a lot of listeners from Sweden. Thanks to people in Sweden for listening to us.
Hey, see?
That's
Sweden.
after the
Sweden
United
is
States, we go right to Sweden. That's our next highest listener.
Swedish people have like pretty faces. They got you had to you had to see it from my view from the stage. When I'm looking, it's like all one pretty face. It's like all different shapes, sizes of people, but they all have like this pretty face. It's like Sweden has a pretty face.
I've never been to Sweden, but I do appreciate you guys listening.
Nobody goes to Sweden. Play that one. Hey, it's one of my favorite funk songs, and they don't call it a funk song because it's supposed to be a jazz song. But one of my favorite songs to play is Brand X, a song called "Nobody Goes to Sweden." Check it out.
Well, alrighty, episode 6. We'll see you guys.
Okay,
Check out Nobody Goes to Sweden. Alrighty.